Okay, so this is chapter 7 on corporate powers. So previously, we have defined a corporation based on the revised Corporation Code of the Philippines. And it says corporation is defined as an artificial being created by operation of law, possessing the right of succession and the powers, attributes, and properties expressly authorized by law or incidental to its existence. That's the definition. I suggest you memorize that. So what are the general powers of the corporation? Under the theory of general capacity. So every corporation incorporated under the revised corporation code possesses foundational set of powers reflecting the theory of general capacity, which means it has the capacity to perform acts necessary or incidental to its purpose. So under the theory of general capacity, a corporation has those powers which are necessary for the performance of corporate acts, as well as those which are incidental to its purpose. So these powers and capacity include the power to sue and be sued in its corporate name. Pwede magkaso at saka pwede rin kasuhan ang isang corporation. The power to have perpetual existence unless the certificate of incorporation states otherwise. So it's one of the power. To adopt and use a corporate seal. To amend its articles of incorporation and bylaws. To issue or sell stocks to subscribers. Sell treasury stocks for stock corporation and admit members in case of non-stock corporation. To deal with real and personal property, which means they can purchase, receive, hold, convey, the corporation can sell, have their property leased, pledged, or mortgaged, as the transaction of its lawful business as may be reasonably and necessarily required. So a corporation, even if it's just an artificial being, can actually own and dispose of properties, whether real or personal. Pwede rin magparenta, pwede rin magprenda. So it's like a corporation is like just like a natural person. To enter into partnership, joint venture, merger, consolidation, or any other commercial agreement. So take note, a corporation, dahil isa rin siyang artificial being, can actually enter into a partnership with other persons. So pwede rin maging partner ang corporation sa partnership. So pwede rin mag-enter into joint venture, merger, consolidation, and any other commercial agreement. Yung merger at consolidation, we will discuss that in the subsequent na mga chapters. So the corporation also has the power to make reasonable donations for public welfare, charitable, cultural, scientific, civic, or similar purposes. However, foreign corporations cannot give donations in aid of political parties or partisan political activity because they are foreigners. They cannot foreign corporations cannot support any political parties or partisan activity. So, hindi sila pwede mag-donate sa mga politiko. Corporation has the power to establish pension, retirement, and other plans for the benefit of its directors, trustees, officers, and employees. May power din ang corporation to exercise such other powers as may be essential or necessary to carry out its purpose or purposes stated in the articles of incorporation. Okay, so this time the specific powers of a corporation, what are those? So under the theory of specific capacity, which is defined as, which is considered as the fourth attribute of a corporation. So the core principle of this theory of specific capacity states that under a corporation possesses only those powers, attributes, and properties that are expressly authorized by law or incident to its existence. So in essence, the theory of specific capacity dictates that a corporation cannot exercise those powers that are not given by law or is not incident to its existence. So any acts by the corporation which are beyond those granted by law or beyond those incidental to its existence are considered ultra vires act. So these ultra vires act are invalid acts. In contrast, that sa theory of specific capacity, the previous theory of general capacities, yung theory of general capacity, would permit a corporation to exercise any and all powers that may be exercised by natural persons. Okay, yun yung sa general capacity. Sa specific capacity, the theory states that only those provided for by law and incidental to its existence may be exercised by a corporation. So the power to extend or shorten corporate term. So private corporation may extend or shorten its term as stated in the articles of the corporation. So the requirement for these are number one, if a corporation would like to extend or shorten the term of the corporation, it needs the majority vote of the board of directors and board of trustees. So majority sa board. And then it must be ratified at a meeting by the stockholders or members representing at least two-thirds of the outstanding capital stock or two-thirds of the members of that stock corporation. So dalawang need, majority vote ng board at saka at least two-thirds na ratification ng stockholders or members. In the case of extension of corporate term, a dissenting stockholder may exercise the right of appraisal. This right of appraisal will be discussed in the subsequent na mga topics. So a dissenting stockholder is a stockholder that uh, does not want to vote yes to the shortening or the extension of the corporate term. Itong mga dissenting stockholder, ito yung mga ayaw na baguhin yung corporate term. So because of that, they have the right of appraisal, meaning they have the right to demand that their stocks be appraised and that they be paid so that they can leave the corporation already. A corporation also has the power to increase or decrease its capital stock or increase banded indebtedness. So a corporation can increase or decrease its capital stock. It may also increase or create yung indebtedness, mga pagkakautang, pwede mag-utang din ang corporation. So no corporation shall increase or decrease its capital stock or create, or increase any banded indebtedness unless approved by the following. Both of the majority of the board of directors na naman. And two-thirds of the outstanding capital stock at the stockholders meeting called for the purpose. Any such changes requires prior approval of the SEC and the Philippine Competition Commission where appropriate. So, pareho nung kanina, ang needed na vote is majority of the board and at least two-thirds of the outstanding capital stock at a stockholders meeting. And then, yung increase or decrease ng capital stock or increase creation of indebtedness must be approved by the SEC. And kailangan ang Philippine Competition Commission, if it will create undue competition sa mga sa other corporations. So for the increase of capital stock, ito yung mga requirements. Increase ito ha. Okay. The SEC shall not accept the filing of an increase in capital stock unless accompanied by a sworn statement by the treasurer of the corporation showing that at least 25% of the increase has been subscribed and at least 25% of that subscribe must have been paid by cash or actual or equivalent property, I mean. So take note, if there is uh, a move to increase capital stock, dapat needed approval ng SEC. And then the SEC will require na 25% nung increase ng capital stock, ang 25% nun dapat na-subscribe na. So the subscription may be 25% or more, but not less than 25%. And then yung na-subscribe na 25% na yon, dapat nabayaran ang 25% nung subscription. Okay? Kung more than 25, okay, but not less than 25. For the decrease in capital stock, no decrease in capital stock shall be approved by the SEC if its effect will prejudice the rights of corporate creditors. Okay? Kasi under the trust fund doctrine, dapat hindi ma-prejudice yung mga creditors ng corporation in case na merong decrease in capital stock. Okay, so the SEC will only approve the decrease if it will not prejudice the rights of corporate creditors. So walang rate of increase ang decrease ang requirement dito, unlike sa increase na 25% of must be subscribed, 25% must be paid. Dito sa decrease wala. The requirement is just it should not prejudice the rights of corporate creditors. Banded indebtedness, pag ang non-stock corporation gusto umutang, ito yung requirement. Non-stock corporations may incur, create, or increase banded indebtedness when approved by a majority of the board of trustees and at least 2/3 of the members. So always take note of this approval. It must be a majority of the board and at least 2/3 of the members. Do not just say 2/3, but the correct word is at least 2/3 kasi pwede namang magsobrang 2/3. Basta at least 2/3 ang requirement. So a corporation also has the power to deny preemptive rights. So stockholders of the corporation generally enjoy the preemptive right to subscribe to all issues or dispositions of shares or any class in proportion to their existing shareholdings. What does this mean? Okay, pag ang corporation will offer unissued shares, ang una nila i-offeran is the stockholders bago i-offer sa iba. I-offer mo na yung unissued stocks sa stockholders. Okay, the stockholders has the right to subscribe to these shares in proportion to their shareholdings. For example, if you are a stockholder holding 10% of the company, and then the corporation would like to issue new shares of stocks, these new shares of stocks must be offered to the stockholders, and that stockholder who is holding 10% of the company is also entitled to subscribe the 10% of the shares that will be issued. Okay? Sa kanya dapat i-offer mo na, i-preempt. So kung bibili niya, that is his or her right. Pag ayaw niya, o de waive na yung preemptive right niya. Basta the rule is, before stocks will be issued, new stocks will be issued to the public, the shareholders must first be notified and offered first so that they can maintain their stock holdings in the corporation. So this preemptive right can be denied. Okay, pwede i-deny ang preemptive rights class if nakasulat sa Articles of Incorporation or any amendment to the Articles of Incorporation. So pag wala nakasulat sa Articles of Incorporation, it means that the stockholders have a preemptive right. Okay? Pag nakasulat sa articles na meron silang preemptive right, with more reason na meron silang preemptive right. Okay, mawala lang yung preemptive right if nakasulat sa Articles of Incorporation na walang preemptive rights ang mga stockholders. Number 2, the shares are issued in compliance with laws requiring stock offerings or minimum stock ownership by the public. Okay, walang preemptive right even if nakasulat sa articles na meron dapat, pero walang preemptive right kapag yung issuance ng stocks is pursuant to a provision of law na dapat i-offer sa public yung stocks. Okay? If may batas na nagsasabi na kailangan mag-offer ang corporation sa public ng unissued stocks, walang preemptive right doon because kasi ang law mismo ang nagsabi na sa public, para sa public yan. Number 3, the shares are issued in good faith with the approval of the stockholders representing 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock in exchange for property needed for corporate purposes or in payment of previously contracted debt. So if may mag-i-issue ng bagong shares of stock sa corporation para pambayad sa utang or para pambili ng property na needed by the corporation, kailangan yun ng vote ng at least 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock at saka yung shares na yon na ipambayad sa utang or ipambili ng properties, walang preemptive right yon ang mga stockholders. In closed corporations, however, the preemptive right extends to all stock to be issued, including reissuance of treasury shares, unless the articles of incorporation provide otherwise. Sa closed corporation kasi, as much as possible, hindi pwede ibenta sa iba yung stocks. It must be within a small circle of few people lang. So any stocks na i-issue, whether treasury stocks or issued stocks, it must be offered to the stockholders of a corporation. Unless the articles of incorporation will provide na no preemptive right. Okay, the corporation has also the power to sell or dispose corporate assets. Meaning, a corporation, pwede bumili ng properties, pwede rin nila ibenta. Kaya corporation may dispose of its property and assets upon majority vote of its board of directors or trustees. However, sale of all or substantially all of the corporation properties and assets, including goodwill, requires majority vote of the board of directors na naman or trustees, and then the authorization of na naman ng at least 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock or 2/3 of the members. Okay? So kapag ang corporation gusto niya ibenta ang lahat ng property ng corporation, substantially all, halos maubos, kailangan pa itong dalawang boto, majority of the board and at least 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock of the members. O kailan natin pwede sabihin substantially all na ang gusto ibenta? Ang sale is to cover substantially all assets if it renders the corporation incapable of continuing the business or accomplishing the purpose for which it was incorporated. Okay, so sa sobrang dami ng ibibentang asset, hindi na pwede mag-continue ang corporation. Ang ibig sabihin niyan, ang binibenta is substantially all assets. Okay, in that case, kailangan yung boto ng majority of the board at saka at least 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock or members. In such a case, any dissenting stockholder may exercise the right of appraisal. Okay. So yung mga stockholder na ayaw nagboto na ayaw ibenta yung mga properties sa corporation at natalo sila, pwede silang exercise ng right of appraisal. The right of appraisal means ipa-appraise nila yung stockholders nila kasi magpapabayad na lang sila ng stocks dahil alis na sila sa corporation. So this authorization is not needed if the disposition is necessary in the usual and regular course of business. Kung ang selling naman ng corporate assets ay kailangan para sa usual and regular course of business, hindi na kailangan ang majority vote of the directors at saka 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock. O corporation is required to acquire its own shares. Ano ibig sabihin yan? O yung may mga stockholders kasi na gusto nila ibenta yung shares nila sa ibalik sa corporation, pwede yun bilhin ng corporation, magiging treasury shares yun. So a stock corporation is the power to purchase or acquire its own shares for a legitimate corporate purpose. This power is subject to the condition that the corporation must have unrestricted written earnings in its books to cover the shares to be purchased or acquired. Oh, that's very important. Hindi pwede bilhin ng corporation yung kanyang mga stocks from existing stockholders pag meron siyang unrestricted retained earnings or URE. URE means unrestricted retained earnings. What is this unrestricted retained earnings? Ito yung mga income, net income, net profits ng corporation na accumulate through the years. Tapos wala siyang hindi siya set aside for 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 other purposes. Restricted siya, ibig sabihin free, can be used anytime. Kasi ang pambayad doon sa mga stocks na bibili ng corporation, kukunin doon sa unrestricted written earnings. So kung restricted written earnings yan, dahil restricted, pwede pambayad. Okay, ang pwede pambayad yung unrestricted retained earnings lang. Ano ang purpose ng acquisition of own shares of stocks by a corporation? Number 1, to eliminate fractional shares arising out of stock dividends. Okay? Kasi minsan ang corporation nag-i-issue ng stock dividends, hindi cash dividends kundi stock dividends. Minsan magkakaroon ng fraction. For example, magiging may 1/2, 1/4, 1/3. Okay, mahirap yun siya pag mag-compute na naman ng ibang dividends kasi may fraction. So, pwede gawin ng corporation, bibili nila yung mga fractions para mabuo na yung mga shares of stocks ng mga corporation, wala ng fractional portion. The corporation can also buy its own shares to collect or compromise on indebtedness to a corporation like in a delinquency sale. So, kung hindi bayad yung shares, pwede rin bilhin na lang balik ni corporation. Tapos yung pambayad, yun yung binayad ng corporation, yun yung i-apply sa utang ng stockholder na delinquent. Okay, number 3 is to pay dissenting or withdrawing stockholders entitled to payment for the shares under the revised corporation code. Pwede magbili ng own shares ang corporation para pambayad doon sa mga dissenting stockholders. So redeemable shares, from the word redeemable, ito yung shares na pwede i-redeem at any time kahit na walang unrestricted written earnings. Take note general rule, pag mag-acquire ng shares of corporation or own shares of the corporation, kailangan ng URA, unrestricted written earnings. Pero itong redeemable shares, dahil redeemable nga siya, kahit walang unrestricted written earnings, pwede bilhin ng corporation. The corporation also has the power to invest corporate funds in another corporation or business. So, pwede rin ang corporation mag-invest ng funds niya sa other corporation or other businesses. So a private corporation may invest its funds in any other corporation, business, or for any purpose other than the primary purpose for which it was organized, provided it is approved by, nandiyan na naman, majority of the board of directors or trustees and ratification of at least 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock or at least 2/3 of the members. So dissenting stockholders the appraisal right in this instance. So pag may stockholder na ayaw pumayag na mag-invest yung corporation nila sa another business or corporation, pwede siya mag-dissent and then exercise yung appraisal right. Ano ulit yung appraisal right? Ito yung right ng stockholder na dissenting na ipa-appraise yung kanyang stocks dahil magpapabayad na siya sa corporation dahil aalis na lang siya. Okay, so ito yung kung ang primary purpose ng corporation is to invest, hindi na kailangan ng approval ng majority of the board at saka at least 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock. Why? Because yun nga ang pinaka-purpose ng corporation ay mag-invest. So hindi na need ang boto pagka ganun. So ito, the corporation has the power to declare dividends. So the board of directors of a stock corporation may declare dividends. Take note, it's the board of directors that declares dividends. And these dividends is payable in cash, property, or stock out of unrestricted retained earnings. Therefore, kung walang unrestricted retained earnings, hindi pwede mag-declare ng dividends. So, obviously, ang cash dividends, cash ang pamimigay sa mga stockholder. Itong dividends kasi, ito kasing dividends, ito yung mga share ng stockholders sa income ng corporation na i-distribute na ng corporation. So, pwede cash ang ibigay sa mga stockholders, that will be called cash dividends. Pwede rin property ang ibigay sa mga stockholders. Ibig sabihin, bibili ang corporation ng properties, tapos yun ang ipang-distribute nila sa mga stockholders. Pwede rin stocks ng corporation ang ang ibigay sa mga stockholders. Okay? And ang pambayad sa mga properties or sa stocks, manggagaling sa unrestricted retained earnings. Kung cash dividends naman, ganun din. Galing sa unrestricted retained earnings ang pambayad. Okay? So, kung walang unrestricted retained earnings, walang URE, hindi pwede mag-declare ng dividends. Ito yung payment basis. The dividends are distributed to all stockholders on the basis of outstanding capital stock held by them. Usually, halimbawa, ang dividend is piso per share. Nag-declare ang board of directors for every share of stock, piso, magbibigay sila ng piso. So if you are a holder of 200 shares of stocks, then 200 times 1 peso, yun yung matatanggap mo. So if you have more shares of stocks, mas malaki ang ma-receive mo na dividends. Stock dividends. Yung stock mismo ng corporation ang i-issue na dividends. Pero hindi pwede yun kapag it is without the approval of at least 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock. Okay. So take note, magdi-declare ng dividends si board of directors, majority yun. And 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock pag stock dividends ang i-distribute. Okay. Pag cash dividends, walang ganitong requirement na 2/3. Pag stock dividends, meron. O ano yung delinquent stock naman? Delinquent stock, ito yung nag-subscribe ka ng stock tapos hindi mo binayaran nung nangolekta na ang corporation hindi ka nagbayad, then your stock will be declared delinquent. Ibig sabihin unpaid. After demand, hindi ka nagbayad, the unpaid stock is called a delinquent stock. So cash dividends due on delinquent stock must first be applied to the unpaid subscription balance plus costs and expenses. Stock dividends must be withheld until the subscription is fully paid. So kapag delinquent ang stock, pwede pa rin makareceive ng dividend. Kaya lang yung dividend na marireceive, ipambayad yon sa utang ng delinquent stock. Kung stock dividends naman na ang i-declare, hindi ibibigay yung stock dividends until such time na ma-fully paid yung delinquent stock. Retention limit. Stock corporations are prohibited from retaining surplus profits in excess of 100% of their paid-in capital stock unless retention is justified by definite corporate expansion projects approved by the board, prohibition under a loan agreement, or clear need for a special reserve for probable contingencies. Ano ibig sabihin nitong retention limit? Ang corporation hindi pwede mag-accumulate ng mga surplus na profits more than 100% of its capital. So kailangan pag nagsobra na ng 100%, yung sobra dapat i-declare na dividends. Take note, hindi every year nagde-declare ng dividends. Magkakaroon lang ng dividends kapag ka nag-declare ang board of directors. Okay? Pero pwede naman magreklamo yung stockholders pag sobra-sobra ng accumulation ng profits ng corporation na sobra na yung accumulated profits nila sobra sa capital stock. Okay? Yung sobra, ano na yun, dapat i-declare ng dividends yun, whether the board agrees or not, because that is not allowed by law. Pwede naman mag-accumulate ng more than 100% ng capital. Pwede mag-accumulate ng surplus na profits kahit na sumobra na sa paid-in capital kung number one, kailangan ng corporation yon para dahil mag-expand sila ng projects. Or merong agreement sa creditor na based sa loan agreement, kailangan mag-retain ng mas malaking surplus, pwede yun. Or kung may kailangan na pag-ipunan na contingencies, pwede. Okay, so itong tatlo ang pwede lang na maging reason kung bakit pwede mag-retain ng more than 100% of the capital stock na profits ang corporation. The corporation has also the power to enter into a management contract. Ano yung management contract? Ito yung contract na yung corporation kukuha ng ibang tao or ibang corporation na mag-manage sa kanya. It's a management contract. Okay? Para bang nag-hire sila ng management team or manager. So a management contract where a corporation undertakes to manage substantially all of the business of another corporation requires approval by the board of directors and stockholders owning at least a majority of the outstanding capital stock of members or both the managing and managed corporation. O take note, hindi 2/3 ang requirement dito sa stockholders, majority lang. Kasi management contract man lang ito. So, ang management contract, may dalawang corporation, nag-usap sila, yung isang corporation ang magmamanage doon sa kabilang corporation. Kaya dahil pareho silang corporation, ang mga board of directors nila dapat mag-agree as well as majority ng kanya-kanyang stockholders nila. Okay, so itong management contract, kailangan pa rin ng dalawang boto ng board at boto ng stockholders. Kaya lang, ang boto ng stockholders, majority, hindi 2/3. Hindi necessary na 2/3. A higher standard of approval is required for managed corporation if there is a potential conflict of interest. So, conflict of interest, ibig sabihin, may mga tao na may interest doon sa dalawang corporation mismo na baka mag-conflict. So, kaya kailangan pwede naman i-require ng higher standard of approval. Kung ayaw nyo ng majority of the stockholders, pwede naman pag-usapan na gawing 2/3 na. So approval must come from stockholders owning at least 2/3 of outstanding capital stock or 2/3 of the managed corporation if, number one, stockholders representing the same interests of both corporations own or control more than 1/3 of the voting stocks of the managing corporation. So kailangan na ng 2/3 vote of the outstanding capital stock kung may mga stockholders na kontrolado niya ang dalawang corporation, yung corporation na magma-manage at saka yung corporation na i-manage. Magkakaroon ng conflict of interest, so pwede i-higher na ang requirement instead of majority na stock outstanding capital stock, pwedeng gawing 2/3 na. Okay, kailangan din ng 2/3 vote of the outstanding capital stock if majority of the board of members of the managing corporation also constitute a majority of the board members of the managed corporation. O, ito naman, yung board of directors ng isang corporation na magmamanage doon sa kabila, mga board of directors din doon sa kabilang corporation. So, kailangan yun ng 2/3 vote of the stockholders. Bakit ganoon? Kasi baka pagsamantalahan nila yung situation kasi kontrolado nilang yung dalawang corporation. So, para maiwasan ang abuses ng board of directors, kailangan ng permission na at least 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock. So, no management contract shall be entered for a period longer than 5 years for any 1-year term. One term, I mean. So, yung management contract must not be more than 5 years. Okay? So, pwede 4 years, pwede 3 years, but not more than 5 years. After 5 years, they renew na naman nila for another 5 years if they want. Basta not more than 5 years yung management contract. Ultra Vires Acts. These are acts na hindi pwede gawin ng corporation because it is outside its powers. So, Ultra Vires Acts refers to actions beyond the scope of a corporation's validly conferred powers. And no corporation shall possess or exercise corporate powers other than those conferred by the law, its articles of incorporation, except those necessary or incidental to the exercise of powers conferred. So, ang revised corporation code natin is inclined to more on the theory of limited capacities. Ito, doctrine of individuality of subscription. The doctrine of individuality of subscription holds that a subscription is a single, entire, and indivisible contract. So, kung ikaw ay subscriber, nag-subscribe ka ng 100 shares of stocks in a corporation, meaning gusto mong bumili ng 100 shares of stocks, hindi pa nababayaran, so subscriber ka pa. Kasi pag nabayaran mo na, stakeholder ka na. Subscriber ka, kahit na 100 shares ang subscribe mo, yung 100 shares is considered indivisible contract. Hindi pwede hatiin. So, yung subscription is considered indivisible. Hindi pwede hati-hatiin yung contract na yun. Hindi pwede sabihin mo, ay, hatiin ko na lang, yung kalahati na lang ang bayaran ko, yung kalahati hindi na. Hindi pwede because a subscription is considered indivisible. Okay, so this means that a stockholder cannot sell or transfer a portion of their shares until the entire subscription, including all unpaid balances, interest, and expenses, has been fully paid. Okay, so subscription is an indivisible contract. Pag nabayaran mo yung 100 shares na subscribe mo, yan, pwede mo na siya ihati-hatiin, ibenta mo dalawa, tatlo, kalahati ng stocks mo, 50, ganun. Pwede yun. Pero kapag hindi pa nabayaran, the subscription is considered indivisible. So upon full payment, the subscriber is entitled to a stock certificate for the entire subscribed amount. So you will only receive the stock certificate pag na fully paid na yung subscription. So the doctrine of individuality of subscription prevents the complications and difficulties that would arise in determining how partial payments should be applied and unpaid balance each transferee would be responsible for. Ito naman, doctrine of equality of shares. This principle is fundamental to the classification of shares. Ibig sabihin, each share is equal in all respects with the other shares except as otherwise provided in the articles of incorporation and in the certificate of stocks. Okay. So lahat ng shares of stocks ng corporation is considered equal to one another. Except kung sinulat sa articles of incorporation na may iba-ibang klaseng stocks ang corporation. And then, yung certificate of stock din, nakasulat din kung anong klaseng stock ang hinahawakan mo. So, kung may stock na lesser ang right, dapat nakasulat yun sa articles of incorporation at saka sa certificate of stock. Pag walang ganon, it is considered that all shares are equal in all respects. Although free part and redeemable shares may be deprived of voting rights, there must always be a class of or series of shares with complete voting rights. Okay. Yung stocks ng corporation, pwede naman mag-classify sila, may preferred, may redeemable, pero there must always be a share na may voting rights. Hindi pwede lahat ng share walang voting rights. Okay? So, yung may mga voting rights, ang tawag natin doon, common shares. Furthermore, even non-voting shares retain the right to vote on fundamental corporate changes such as amendment of articles, merger, consolidation, or dissolution. Okay, ganito. Lahat ng shares equal ang right. Except kung may sinulat sa articles at sa certificate of stock mismo na may mga shares na preferred or redeemable na walang voting rights. Kung walang nakasulat sa articles, walang nakasulat sa shares of stocks, ibig sabihin may ano yun, equal ang mga shares sa ibang shares. Yung mga non-voting shares, hindi pwede magboto sa yung normal na business ng corporation. Okay? Pero yung mga non-voting shares, pwede pa rin magboto kapag ang binobotohan is fundamental corporate changes like amendment of the articles, merger and consolidation and dissolution. Yung mga pag ganito ang kaso, lahat ng non-voting shares pwede rin mag-vote kasi it involves already the fundamental corporate changes of the corporation. Trust fund doctrine. What is this doctrine? The trust fund doctrine views corporations' capital stock, whether paid in and paid subscription and retained earnings, as a trust fund for its creditors, meaning it can be distributed to shareholders until debts are settled, protecting creditors by preventing fraudulent asset diversion, and ensuring funds for debt payment, even holding directors shareholders liable for improper distributions or unpaid subscription. Ano ibig sabihin ng trust fund doctrine? Ibig sabihin yan, in simple terms, yung capital ng corporation hindi pwede ibalik doon sa mga stockholders kung hindi pa nabayaran yung mga utang ng corporation sa creditors. Kasi dapat una palagi bayaran ang creditors bago ang stockholders. That is why kung magbibili ang corporation ng sarili niyang stocks from a stockholder, di ba parang binalik mo yung binayad ng stockholder? Para hindi mabayad ang trust fund doctrine, hindi ibabalik ng corporation yung capital na binayad ng stockholder pag gusto na niyang isauli yung stocks. Ang kailangan gawin doon sa retained earnings, unrestricted retained earnings ang pambayad, hindi doon sa binayad sa paid-in capital. Okay, ulitin ko. Under the trust fund doctrine, hindi pwede balik yung binayad ng stockholder para sa stocks. Kung kailangan niya ibenta sa corporation yung stocks niya as treasury shares, ang pambayad hindi kukunin sa paid-in capital, kundi kukunin sa unrestricted retained earnings. Therefore, kung walang unrestricted retained earnings, hindi pwede bilhin ang stockholders shares para maging treasury shares. So the trust fund doctrine, although not explicitly named, is supported by various provisions ensuring corporate capital is preserved for creditors and business integrity. So yung trust fund doctrine hindi talaga nakasulat sa yung word na trust fund doctrine hindi yun nakasulat sa Revised Corporation Code. Pero yung mga provisions ng Revised Corporation Code points to the fact na hindi pwede ibalik yung capital ng stockholders kung hindi pa nabayaran ang mga creditors. So no stock shall be issued for a consideration less than the par value or the issued price, prohibiting watered stock. Wow. Ano ibig sabihin ng watered stock? Watered stock is yung binili mo yung stock lower price, mas lower si par value. Watered stock yun. Ibig sabihin, hindi pwede magbigay ng discount. Pwede magdagdag ng price pero hindi pwede magbaba sa par value. So if the par value of a share is 100, binili mo ng tag 50, then yung stock mo considered watered stock and it is not allowed by law. Okay? So kung ang par value ng stock 100, binili mo ng 110, pwede yun, basta sobra. Pero hindi pwede kulang. Kasi pag bumili ka ng stock for a lesser consideration, it's called a watered stock and it is prohibited by law. Directors or officers who consent to the issuance of watered stocks are held jointly and severally liable to the corporation or its creditors for the difference between the value received and the par value or the issued value. So lahat ng board of ng directors or officers na nag-consent doon sa issuance of watered stock magiging liable to the corporation. The consideration received for no par value shares shall be treated as capital and shall not be available for distribution as dividends. So kung walang par value ang shares, meron kasing shares na walang par value. Ibig sabihin walang nakasulat sa articles kung magkano yung per share. Okay? So kung pag bibili yung par value shares, yung buong amount shall be treated as capital and hindi pwede pang-distribute as dividends. Except by way of legitimate decrease of capital stock and as otherwise allowed by the revised corporation code, like paying for redeemable shares or buying back stocks using unrestricted retained earnings, no corporation shall distribute any of its assets or property except upon lawful dissolution and after payment of all its debts and liabilities. So under the trust fund doctrine, hindi pwede i-distribute ang assets ng corporation sa stockholders pag hindi pa nabayaran yung mga liabilities to the creditors. Unahin lagi ang mga utang bago i-distribute ang assets ng corporation sa mga stockholders in case of dissolution. So the power to acquire all shares is strictly conditional upon the availability of unrestricted written earnings. That is the reason why kailangan ng unrestricted written earnings dahil sa trust fund doctrine. Hindi ibalik yung pinayad ng stockholder, kundi ang pambayad ng doon sa shares is nanggagaling sa unrestricted written earnings. This requirement ensures that the repurchase does not impair the capital available to creditors unless the repurchase is court-ordered due to deadlock in a closed corporation. That's the end of this chapter.